Welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm Road to BlizzCon June qualifiers, and we potentially have the last game of the evening, ShaneGoocher.
Potentially. I mean, Plato was looking really good in there. Though Shuffle Button, if they're able to recollect themselves, get themselves up off the ground, and figure out what they did wrong that game, they definitely can make a good display here to bring it into game number 3. They've made it this far, Gilly. And we're at a stage where these teams are the best of the best. They've beaten the rest. I didn't mean to rhyme that, but I did it nonetheless.
No.
So we are into the draft. The next battleground is going to be on Shire, and this is a map that is a fan favorite, if you ask me. It has symmetrical lanes, and the thing I love about this map, Gilly, is that it has static contention points, and that in a lot of the maps it kind of moves around. The tribute on Cursed Hollow can spawn anywhere. The temples kind of have a weird algorithm. They aren't always in the same spot. Shire is it's all about if you're able to defend your point. And on Shire, your lane configuration and your early game lane presence is so very important, because if you aren't able to stay in lane, have sustain in lane, and be a threat in the lane, you give up early Dragon Knights, and that can really snowball out of control.
Yeah, that is definitely the case, but we are on Shire, and because Shuffle Button lost the last game, they got to choose the battleground where this next fight will take place. So maybe it's one where they feel a little more comfortable, or where they've practiced a strategy that they feel really confident with. But Pool Plato does get first pick, first ban because of that map pick. They're going to choose to ban Zeratul, Shuffle Button choosing to ban Kael'thas, so focusing on taking out some of those high damage dealers here at the beginning.
So the first pick from Plato, with the way that they have been playing, I mean, they kind of, in the match against Flick the Wrist, they went with this heavy dive composition that was all about an initiation with a Tyrael and a Numerak. That was the bread and butter of those two matches, the last series we just casted. And they executed it so very well, and they won those two games in convincing manner. Then the last game in this series against Shuffle Button, they came up and they showed a pushing strategy with Sylvanas and Zagara. So Plato is a team with depth, and they're able to secure obviously multiple different sort of strategies. So this is Shire. We haven't seen them perform on this map yet, so we'll see what they're going to have up their sleeve for this final match. I'm sorry, for game 2. I apologize.
Yeah, possible final match. That's
possible
true,
final match. Final series. Boom.
Yes, for sure. So we're seeing Shuffle Button actually look toward that siege a little bit with Zagara. Zagara is so great on this map. The bottom lane has a potential for a lot of siege power, as it does have 3 mercenary camps throughout it. So they may even be able to pick up Bribe on that Brightwing and really get a good push going down in there on bot. But Pool Plato has Jaina and Sylvanas, though, so they're going to have just as much push potential from them as well.
Going with the Zagara before this Sylvanas is interesting, and that leads me to believe that Shuffle Button picked up the Zagara not necessarily because of her push capabilities. If they wanted to push a little bit stronger, Sylvanas is a little bit better than Zagara at that. Don't get me wrong, Zagara's a great pusher, Gilly, but she cannot push like Sylvanas. But what Zagara does have that Sylvanas doesn't necessarily, or does better than Sylvanas, is that lane presence that I was talking about. She's able to spread creep all over the place. She's one of the best laners in the game when it comes to just poking people out. She has range. Her Hydralisk deal so much damage. It's really easy to underestimate the damage from the Hydralisk, and if you do, you can get picked off really early, and that can give you an experience advantage and really can get you in a great position. And like I mentioned, with the lane presence being so important, I really like that Zagara pickup. Shuffle Button put a lot of priority into their lane presence. They
also have great lane presence from Brightwing, too. She has fantastic lane presence, especially for a support, too. I've often seen her go head-to-head with Sylvanas and do fantastically at that. And another thing to consider with the Zagara pickup is they might be looking to do something off of a Devouring Maw as well. But there also is the potential, I don't know that we'll see this, but there's a pretty crazy backdoor composition that has to do with Zagara and Brightwing as well. But it's been, I mean, I feel like a lot of people know about it, so we'll have to see if that's going to happen.
Well, you know what, Shuffle Button, their back is up against the wall, and sometimes when we see that, there's people are willing to do some pretty wonky strategies to get themselves out of the hole and up against that wall. So there's a potential of it, as you mentioned. But no, they're going with Muradin and Tyrael, so a big frontline tanky control sort of hero in Muradin, and then a more bruiser sort of warrior Tyrael, where he initiates into the back line. So Shuffle Button has a really strong front line, is able to get into the back line. They obviously have their eye on that Jaina. She can be exposed very, very easily with a Judgment, with a Murd and Dwarf tossing himself in there, laying down a stun as well. So if I was that Jaina, I'd be really, really scared. And if I was that Uther, I'd be having that Divine Shield ready to go on top of that Jaina anytime a fight breaks out.
Yes, indeed. Jaina will have to watch out for that. I liked the ban from Pool Plato on Vala because it did limit the number of damage dealers that Shuffle Button was able to pick up, but it looks like Shuffle Button maybe wasn't even looking toward that necessarily as nearly as much as having that strong front line.
Yeah.
Pool Plato picking up a new Brack for their front line, and on the surface it would seem, okay, well, that's going to be a little squishy, but they do have Uther who will be right there in front too. He's a very tanky support, and then they will have shields from Tassadar as well, so that is enough to make a new Brack into more of a tank sort of warrior while still dealing a lot of damage.
Shuffle Button really needs to supplement their lineup with some damage here. And looking at what sort of assassins and damage-based specialists are on the board, there is Vala. No, I'm sorry, Vala was banned out. I apologize. Illidan is a potential, though that's so much melee. I don't think we're going to see an Illidan here, Gilly. I'm trying to think what else that they can really get their hands on as far when it comes to damage, and it's a Raynor. There's a hero we haven't seen in quite some time. Now, Raynor is a hero we don't see very often, though a Raynor plus Zagara synergize quite well due to the Raynor's skill set, where he is actually to basically give haste to everyone around him, and you do that with Zagara's little minions, her roaches and her hydras respectively, and that really bumps up the output damage from Zagara. It really helps Tyrael out. If he goes battle momentum with a faster attack speed, he can get his abilities off more, so this is going to be interesting. If we see a Hyperion at level 10, then that means it's all about the push. Hyperion is one of the best structure damaging heroics in the game. So this is going to be interesting, and I'm really curious how they lane this as well, Gilly.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that as well. Remember that this map is the laning is so important because you need to, if you're not going to pick up the Dragon Knight, at least be able to deny your opponents from being able to grab him. You have to be able to at least hold one of those shrines and protect that, otherwise you're going to take a ton of siege damage from that Dragon Knight. So we are hopping into the lobby though. I'm going to send you an invite there. And
RSVP?
Yes, please do. Please do. And there we go. We are setting that up. I was surprised with the Raynor pick. I kind of thought maybe we'd see Falstad for the Crispy Taco once again.
I would have really liked to see Falstad with the Crispy Taco, and if Shuffle Button really wanted to do something more push-oriented, which they can do with the Zagara and whatnot, I actually felt like Tychus would have been maybe a little bit better, simply because he has Melting Point. Melting Point is a talent at level 4 that makes your grenade do additional damage to structure, the grenade toss that Tychus has. And it scales so well, the grenade damage scales so well, that at a certain point, he just can clear a creep wave with one grenade toss. It melts away structures, and obviously when you're doing a push strategy, that's something that you want to do. So I mean, if that's really what they wanted to do, I feel like maybe Tychus would have given them that little extra oomph when it comes to pushing that they're looking for, but at the same time, give them the overall teamfight capabilities that Raynor doesn't necessarily have as a Tychus.
So why then, if they're going super push comp, go with the Tyrael and Muradin? I mean, maybe they're going to go with the structure damage talents for Muradin?
That's a possibility. I mean, we do see that occasionally on maps like Blackheart's Bay and Sky Temple every now and then. We'll see a Muradin pull that out. Though Reverberation might be pretty effective here just due to the Tassadar Archon. I don't know. It's an interesting draft. I mean, they have good initiation, but the follow-up from that initiation, I'm not sure. Again, Raynor is one of the few heroes that scales so very well into the late game, and if you're able to get Raynor to that level 20 phase, he just becomes this powerhouse of a hero, Gilly. And if they're able to do that, then that will lend themselves very, very well. I mean, but other than that, I'm still a little concerned about this Raynor pickup. I'm a little concerned about this Raynor pickup. Now, looking at the lanes, I do like the a lane configuration of Zagara, Brightwing, and Raynor in the bottom lane going into this match. I think that's a very, very strong lane. You put Muradin in the top lane. Muradin has great sustain. Tyrael has great lane sustain as well. He can harass people in lane. He can rotate quickly down to the bottom lane for potential gank. He can push the mid wave out. Though, at the other side of the coin, Plato also has a very strong lane as well.
Oh yeah, they definitely do. We'll have to see how they will choose to respond to that if we do see that Zagara, Brightwing, and Raynor on bottom. As, like you mentioned before, they do have a lot of potential. They've got bribe possibility. They've got the promote possibility as well, both on one. But with the Tassadar, there will be a kind of a possibility for promote to negate that too. So we are loading in. We've got Pool Plato, some Tangos once again in blue. Oh, we're gonna have to remake this actually, as they have selected.
They have. That's they have an Anubarak instead of a Muradin. That's not Muradin. So we're probably gonna have to remake this match real quick, Gilly.
Yep, time to exit. Everyone's gotta exit. And then wait a bit so that we don't get put back into the game. Teammate is stupid. Don't worry, guys. Apparently these players are just as tired as we are.
Throwing his teammate right under the bus there, Gilly. But we'll be back into the action momentarily, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry about that. That would have been... I was wondering, like, I saw an Anubarak, and I'm like, wait, I thought Anubarak was on the other team.
Well, I see a Anubarak.
There's two of them.
Oh, there were two Anubaraks. Oh, so someone from Shuffle Button picked up.
Yes, instead of picking up Muradin, he picked up Anubarak.
Well, he probably just saw like, oh, we're doing Tyrael Anubarak then, instead of the Tyrael Muradin, which you don't see quite as often. All right, I'm gonna brave this, hopping back into the game. Hopefully, it's not too soon. I don't want to have to rejoin.
We can do it, team.
We got this.
So. One thing about Raynor, as you mentioned, the vision that's really important. Scouting Drone has really made a big, not comeback, it wasn't ever on the scene, but it's really come full force onto the competitive scene, mostly because it was changed and improved. And Raynor can actually, or no, can he get Scouting Drone at level 1 anymore? Or did they take that away from him? I think they took it away from him, actually.
I don't know.
I was going to say, maybe that has to do with it.
Or am I thinking of something? I thought there was, I don't know, I thought there was still, I sent you a party invite, sorry. I thought there was still there's still some sort of assassin who can get it, but I am not sure. Well, we've got time. Let me hop over to Heroes Fire.
Do it to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who might be a little perplexed why Raynor is an unorthodox pick, is he really doesn't come online until the late game. Because the way he scales, the way his damage scales, the way his talent scales, his skill set caters to the late game situation, and his damage output mostly comes from his auto attack ability. He has his penetrating round, which has offensive utility, but mostly we see it used for defensive utility, kind of as zone control. So it knocks people back and can stun them if you talent it accordingly. There is a common build where you're actually able to get the double loaded shotgun, where you're actually able to get 2 rounds of the penetrating round, and you can use that to kind of deal with the frontliners. If the Muradin, for example, was a dwarf toss himself, he could get knocked back, that sort of thing. So that's maybe one thing they're thinking about, is maybe a little bit of a knockaway to keep their backline protected. Again, the Hyperion is a very strong structure heroic. It's good in team fights as well. It's basically a big old battle cruiser that comes down from the sky, and it does damage to heroes, but its big thing is it does its blast on the structures and it will take that down. So I'm really interested to see the mindset behind this Raynor and what it is exactly, not only how they build him. The common build is his penetrating round build, but there's a couple other ways you can build him. But just kind of, like I said, the overall mindset and strategy with a Raynor pickup here is just not a hero we see very often, Gilly.
Yeah, I was looking, and he can get Scouting Drone, but he can also get Raynor's Recruitment, which is like a better version of Bribe. So with Brightwing and Raynor, they would have the possibility of a lot of easy Merc Camp pickups. So maybe that's a possibility. Maybe they're going to do that and then just inspire the mercenaries and minions to victory with a bunch of promote as well. So I don't know how that's going to work. If they could just lane presence for days and then just push all the way through. You can't just abandon the battleground objective, though, so I'm not really sure how that's going to work.
So the bane of Raynor is a lot of control, and specifically stuns. So he has his heal that he has. It automatically goes off, and you can talent it at level 7 to where it basically cleanses you. It makes you immune to CC when it procs. And really, the only reliable crowd control that they have, other than Uther's Hammer of Justice, is Anubarak with his stun. Which, even then, that's not like a hard initiation tool like Tyrael's Judgment or Muradin tossing himself in or anything like that. So, Raynor definitely, he's faced up against a lineup where he can really do a lot of damage in these team fights. And maybe that's the mindset that Shuffle Button is having here. So if he is able to dish the damage out without getting controlled too much and his positioning is on point, he can destroy a Nubarak in these team fights. And that's kind of the strength of him, especially if he goes Giant Killer at level 13.
Yeah, I mean, he has the possibility of pushing people around as well. So we're about to hop into it once again. This time we have checked. There are not 2 Anubaraks, so we are in fact set and ready. So we're going to hop over to the in-game scene. Don't forget, guys, if you're just joining us, that we are in the final match of this evening. We're, of course, in the Heroes of the Storm Road to BlizzCon qualifiers. This is the June North American Open, and Pool Plato Some Tangos is up 1-0 versus Shuffle Button in this best of 3. So if they win here, they will go on to the round of 8, which will be casted next weekend, so June 20th and 21st.
So we're loading into the match. Hopefully we see the heroes that are supposed to be there. Give me a Murden. We got a Murden, Gilly.
All right, well,
so
we are
the lanes
set.
I'm expected to see here. I'm expected to see Murden go top lane. Or, actually, you know what? What I would really like to see, actually, is Tyrael go top lane, Murden go mid. And that way Murden can rotate to bottom lane and actually gank fairly effectively. He's actually pretty good at roaming. Then bottom lane, you put a Brightwing as Zagara and Raynor. That's an insane amount of push, and it's just, you can push in the lanes, you can boss people around in the lanes. You got great range, great sustain with the Brightwing. On the other side of the coin, I believe Tassadar is more than likely going to go mid. He's going to use Sonic Storm, push those waves out, rotate between middle and bottom lane, something we see all the time. In the bottom lane, see maybe a Jaina, Sylvanas, and Uther, and you put a Nubarak top. And I think that is probably the most effective lanes we're going to see, a 3v3 in the bottom lane, though. The gates are down, ladies and gentlemen. This is game 2. Between Plato and Shuffle Button, and this is match point for them. So if they're able to get a victory here, they are going to be moving on, and Shuffle Button is up against the wall. Let's see what they pull out here, Gilly.
We'll have to. Introducing Shuffle Button, we've got I'm Random, GH playing Tyrael, playing Muradin in mid, just like you asked, was Air Ray on Muradin, and then Lejedster playing Zagara, Jipuki playing Raynor, and Mad Asian Bro on Brightwing.
So looking at the level 1 talents, we see Seasoned Marksman on Raynor, and what that tells me is they want to get Raynor a lot of kills in the lane, and obviously having a strong lane presence is going to do that. What Seasoned Marksman does is it basically builds up your damage slowly but surely. Every 6 creep kills that you are around for, your damage auto attack goes up by 1. So obviously this goes very well in the late game, and as I mentioned, Raynor is already a hero that serves well into the late game. So if we might see some defensive posture coming out here from them, and if they're able to, again, not lose too much ground and get that Raynor up and running, they can really get into such a great late game position and take it from there.
Alright, well, on the side of Pool Plato, we have Mookies on Uther, King Plato playing Sylvanas, Apollo on Jaina, and these 3 are pushing back Shuffle Button so far, as they are commanding this bottom shrine. Up on top, Prismaticism is playing Tassadar, also holding that shrine really well, but will BKid be able to grab the Dragon Knight? Now Brightwing is down, so this is a little bit of power play for Pool Plato, but she can phase shift back in very quickly, so it won't be too long before she'll be back in the fight.
They gotta be careful down at the bottom shrine. Mookie's very, very low, though the phase shift, as you mentioned, coming in from the Brightwing is going to keep them alive. Both the shrines being taken in. Our first Dragon Knight, a fairly early Dragon Knight, Gilly. Well played by Pool Plato Some Tangos.
Yeah.
And an early Dragon Knight, he can't do too much. The Dragon Knight scales exponentially as the game goes on, but they're going to get themselves early Tier 1 towers. That's going to give them a little bit of an experience advantage.
Yeah, and speaking of experience, both teams have picked up their level 4 talents, 2 Invenoms on the side of Pool Plato, so they're really going to be able to burn somebody down very quickly, especially when that's compounded with the damage that Jaina already does with her combo. Looking on the other side, Protective Shield from Brightwing. She did pick up Scouting Drone, so they are not looking so much for the recruitment, the bribe, as we maybe thought, as much as being able to keep all those heroes alive. Unfortunately, Zagara will go down there, so that will be another takedown in favor of Pool Plato, who are slowly getting ahead between these takedowns and this early Dragon Knight taking out some towers.
That Dragon Knight did a lot of work. Normally you don't see a Dragon Knight that early do quite that much. Though with the Sylvanas able to shut down those towers, they're able to get a little bit more to that Dragon Knight than we normally see. So they now have a level 1 advantage, level 7 on the horizon for them. And they're continuing the push in the bottom lane. Though initiation from Murden, that's why we wanted him in the middle lane. He can do things like this, Gilly. Mookie's is so low, but so is Jaina. They got to focus down the target. Can they get to him, though? The back line was a little bit too far away, and now the turnaround from a Nubarak, the Envenom from King Plato, is going to take down Murden. Their frontliners down. No one to protect the back line of Shuffle Button here. And a great exchange for Plato. They got themselves one takedown, didn't lose anyone. Level 7 is here, and a great position.
Well, we have Tassadar and Tyrael who have been just sitting, working on top, but it is Prismaticism who has the favorable push, as he does have that promote, so he's already taken down another tower here up on top, and the second one's taking a ton of damage as it is out of ammo. So really great push from the team that we did not see the push coming from. It's Shuffle Button who has Zagara and that Rainer, but with the power of that Sylvanas, they're able to take out people very quickly. There goes Envenom, double Envenom, I believe, on Zagara, who is taken out as well, and with that, they're looking to steal these forward giants.
Just taking one advantage over another. It's a game of inches, and right now they're ahead by a couple feet. As they're going to get these bruisers. I'm sorry, not the bruisers, the siege ogres. That is going to lay siege to the bottom lane. And bottom lane is a very, very important lane on this match. And the reason being is because you have 3 mercenary camps that all go into the lane. And the dream is to get both of the siege ogre camps and also get the bruiser camp right in the bottom of the map. And that can be such a very strong push. And that's the reason why in the bottom lane on this map you generally see a lot of contention there, because it's such an important map and can really turn the tides once structures are down. So, but obviously right now Plato has the advantage. They're up almost a level and a half, and the next Shire phase is going to be here.
Once again, we do have the bottom shrine going toward Pool Plato, who is already wanting to work on this fort. They have a great push from those bruisers, as well as King Plato, who is keeping it from being able to attack back. So with that, it looks like Ray, Judster, and now I'm Random are going to have to try to come in, maybe take out some of these minions from dealing a ton of damage, but they're going to have to push back Apollo and Mookies and King Plato first, because they are already on the attack. Will they be able to pick out a takedown on I'm Random? Brightwing apparently has already gone down as well. They're so close to being able to take him out. They will be able to do so, and with that, there is level 10 heroic abilities being picked up. Wailing Arrow instantly goes out on Muradin, who will be taken out, and they're already back fighting. The Water Elemental had been chasing down the Jetster. Looks like Apollo would like to pick up the takedown there, but won't be able to do so. Instead, they're going to be content with this fort.
So bottom lane is now forfeit, as the tier 2 towers are the only thing left protecting the core. And yet another Dragon Knight. So level 10 heroic advantage. Now they have a Dragon Knight. Bottom lane is going to be pushing in constantly. This is looking so good for Plato. Once again, they've taken that momentum. They continue to translate it into advantages. Middle lane now under siege here. Rainer is in the back line trying to do what he can. He can chunk away at that Dragon Knight, but they got to be careful. They cannot overcommit here. They do not have the heroics yet. They can position, they can posture, but if they get caught out here, it can spell disaster for them. As another team right here, they're going to lose tier 2 towers and possibly a keep.
I'm Random going to jump back to the Eldru, and he knows that he is very, very squishy as a Tyrael, not quite as squishy as an assassin, but not tanky as a regular tank as well. So now still no heroic abilities for Shuffle Button, and that means Pool Plato can play very aggressively, something they like to do anyway, as they are near to level 13 talents, and their opponents still have yet to pick up heroic abilities. So they're going to grab that wall and open up the possibility of getting that keep later on.
So with only one fort remaining for Shuffle Button, their map control is diminishing. They're going to lose this bruiser camp as well, as Plato once again knows they have the advantage and is continuing to push their advantage. Once that top fort is down, they're going to be constricted inside of their base, and that's such a hard position to be in, Gilly. It can really force some bad decisions when your map control is that far behind. You don't have any vision over the map. You can't get your own mercenaries. You can't get to the shrines to get the Dragon Knight. So level 10 is here though for Shuffle Button, and this is their time to get something done. Is right now. They finally have their heroics online. They're not the Dragon Shrine phase is not up yet. They got themselves a little bit more map vision. The Bruiser camp is going to be pushing out top. The Siege Ogre is going to be pushing out bottom. So they really need to get something done.
Taking a look at Zagara's build, picking up Corpse Feeders and Ventral Sacks, so going for a build based on the Roachlings, which I've never really seen before.
Yeah, the creep build is generally the standard one.
And they could definitely use the vision, as they've been ganked a few times. Now they're even possibly going to lose Jabuki. They lost Brightwing as well, and now they will lose 2 heroes there. and that was a ton of damage. Hyperion didn't even phase Plato, who is moving on, trying to head toward this top keep, especially while 2 more members of Shuffle Button are down for 10 more seconds.
It looks like there's a lot of miscommunication going on here from Shuffle Button, as Zagara is just now hearthing back home. They're down 2 team members, but they're going to be up here in just a moment. Can they defend this keep? They have their heroics. Hyperion's on cooldown, but they need to get a Maw, a good judgment. There's the judgment into the backline, onto the Jaina, an immediate cleanse from Mookie's Uther, and the big jump from Murden. Isn't enough? It is not. Maw is a little bit too late. She gets 2 in there, but Zagara pays with it for her life. The front line getting taken down from a Shuffle Button. Tyrael going down as well. They lost their top keep. The map control continues to diminish for them. Level 16 on the horizon for Plato, and you know they're feeling good right now, Gilly.
Oh yeah, they feel awesome. They are heading, they're willing to split up across the entire map, heading to top to pick up that shrine. Someone is also heading bottom to pick up that shrine as well. Someone even hanging out in mid, wanting to pick up that Dragon Knight as well. And with a Dragon Knight, they're going to get even more sieging done. They'll have more potential, well, especially once they get those level 16 talents. Their opponents still don't have 13. That's a huge advantage for them in this game.
3rd Dragon Knight of the match. That's a hat trick right there, Gilly. And they lab level 16, the 2 talent to your dream. The advantage that they have, oh no, Tyrael. Can he Q out? Can he? Eldruin's out of there. He's stunned. He needs to do it. He is able to get away. Though King Plato is quick on his toes, immediately takes down Tyrael. He was just in the right place at the right time. So they got themselves a hat trick. They got themselves a power play. They are rushing down mid lane with this Dragon Knight. And their eyes are on the mid keep.
Yes, they are indeed. They also picked up 2 Blood for Bloods as well as Numbing Blast, so anybody that Jaina is able to hit with her Cone of Cold will be rooted, and I don't think you want to be rooted near the team of Plato with that many levels ahead. They've already got Tyrael. Will they be able to pick up any more takedowns? The Dragon Knight is getting pretty low, but the keep is down, and now they're moving in toward the core as well. Tyrael is back up, so they'll have to be careful with that big of a level difference. Actually, the respawn timers of Shuffle Button still pretty low, so at least they have that.
Now, Plato, they are feeling so good. They have 2 keeps here. Are they going for the game ender, though? And it looks like they are immediately taking Tuna with a beautiful Wailing Arrow on top of the Zagara and the Murden. Right wing to be taken down as well. Raynor is in the back line, and ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Plato looking great. A quick 2-0 sweep of Shuffle Button, and they are going to be moving on deeper into the bracket for the road to BlizzCon, Gilly.
Yes, they are indeed. They have gotten, or they've made themselves a spot in the round of 8. Looking at the bracket, let me see if I can pull that up, as well as our cams. Who else is in the round of 8? Well, oh, it's going to refresh on me. Looks like it's Team Blaze and Evil Geniuses, not EGEJ, still haven't been shown who the winner of that, but the winner of that will be in the round of 8 as well. We also have the Plays and Tempo Storm, who made it from the earlier section of the bracket that we were looking at today. So Tempo Storm were able to beat 2 Art Gaming and moved up there, but the Plays, really cool to see them up there. We've been seeing them a lot in the amateur series and making more of a name themselves, so that's really cool to see too. We have Cloud9 Vortex and Complexity Gaming, as well as Zephyron and Cloud9 Maelstrom, who all made it in yesterday as well. So that will be the round of 8. We have the 8 teams who will be playing next weekend. I'm really excited to see them as well. But congrats to all these teams. Remember that the top 32 were paid, so that's a really amazing amazing thing to see too, is that a lot of people still earned money here this weekend. Yes,
and that is just a credit to Blizzard for doing this. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, Heroes has been out for not even a month, and the road to BlizzCon, we are already well underway. And it's taken shape for the first of the 3 qualifiers, Gilly. And I think to no surprise, we see the big teams that we all know who have been so very successful. And they're continuing to show that success in this tournament thus far. I'm really excited to see how it progresses. And, you know, it's been an absolute pleasure able to cast these games with you today, Gilly.
Yes, it's been amazing to cast with you too. Guys, be sure that you are following Heroes of the Storm on Twitter. It's Blizz Heroes, as well as check out heroesofthestorm.com for more information on these Road to BlizzCon qualifying tournaments. But you can also follow us here on Misscliks. We've got Eye on the Storm, like Anna mentioned earlier. It's a great hero show that's weekly, and you can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch on Misscliks. ShaneGoocher, where can people follow you and find your stream and your social media?
You can find me throughout the internets. You can find me on Twitter at ShaneGoocher. You can find me on Twitch at ShaneGoocher Gaming. Got to mix it up. Those I'm very active on there. I've been casting heroes for the better part of a year now. And I'm so glad that I was able to, cast the BlizzCon qualifiers. It was kind of a dream of mine to do it, so I'm so honored and humbled to be able to do this. So thank you guys for hanging out and watching the games. Hope you had a good time. And so check me out on Twitter and Twitch. I've been streaming quite frequently.
And I do believe, are you still planning on streaming after this too?
Absolutely. I'm ready to get my Zeratul on, Gilly.
Good. Well, that Zeratul is frightening, as we saw on Eye on the Storm this week.
Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah, don't want to talk about it. But, guys, you can follow me if you would like to on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, all Gillyweed SCT, where I stream Heroes of the Storm every weekday at 3 p.m. Central. Might take the day off tomorrow. I was kind of working hard all this weekend. But like you mentioned, getting to cast Road to BlizzCon qualifier is a huge dream of mine, too. I was beyond ecstatic that I got to do so. So thank you so much for getting to join me. I loved sharing the hype with you. It was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Blizzard, for making this awesome game. I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you soon. Bye!